Bye week. The bye weeks are among us. It's a bad one this week. The Bengals are on bye. The Jets are on bye. Lots of good fantasy players on those teams. Who's the craziest player you're starting? Let's find out.
Could one of y'all pass the gosh darn rock? Hey, yo, I'm trying, I ain't lying, and hosting this will be Brian.
Yeah.
Posting like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
flying to see the pilot.
Yeah.
Hit the hezzy, we got Jesse, opinions get kinda messy. A fan of out of lefties, from football to racing jackies. He go silly when he go deep, sheesh, is Zach Zeman. Teaming up with Jack, we stack the whole team, man. Pass the rock, don't stop the shot clock.
Ooh.
Smack the slap shot, come on, now let's talk. Pass the, yo, partner, pass the rock. For real.
I know me personally, it's not looking good. I got Jamar Chase off this week, and boy, do I need him more than ever. Jack, who is the craziest player that you're starting on the bye week?
Oh man, I'm starting. I have a league where I'm starting Roshan Johnson potentially if he plays, and if he doesn't play, it's Antonio Gibson. So it just goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, Roshan Johnson's my RB2 in one of my leagues as well right now. And if it's not him, it's Deontay Foreman. So we'll see how that shakes out. Zach?
Nothing too crazy, I'd say, on my end, but I mean, who would have thought that Cortland Sutton would be a flex option that I'd be starting this week? So yeah.
He's been sneaky good.
He's been solid. He's wide receiver 30 right now, though, so nothing to get super excited about.
He's just trying to get his trade value up.
In that league, I have Jamar Chase and Mixon both out on bye. I could put Jonathan Taylor in, but I don't trust him, so Cortland Sutton it is.
I don't hate the Jonathan Taylor play, but against Cleveland, it just feels like you're asking for pain there.
No, I mean, it's just the Cleveland defense is fantastic. I don't want to play him against them.
I mean, asking for pain is sort of just the definition of fantasy football.
Yeah, you kind of sign up for it week one.
Oh, yeah, you totally do. Believe me, week one, remember I lost by 0.64 points to the Jets punt return touchdown?
Yes.
My money league.
I mean, I lost to Brian this week by 0.08 because Keenan Allen's catch got called back by a Dallas penalty, and also because my kicker kicked a 39-yard field goal instead of a 40.
How many points did I lose to against Spencer this week? Let's see. Less than a point. I'm not doing the exact math, but it was 136.12 to 135.48. So probably around 0.7 points I lost to Spencer because of a Justin Herbert late interception that sealed the game. So thank you, Herbert.
That's tough when you're up 1 point and your quarterback throws a pick and you lose by 1 point.
I thought I had it. I really did. And then he just threw a pick.
Yeah, the muffed punt ended my undefeated season, unfortunately, in the Lost Tribe Community League. So no longer. I was so sure I was 6-0, and then freaking muffed punt, man. It was
proud to say I do have one 6-0 team, but I really need a quarterback in that league.
Yeah, it's too good to be true. The 6-0 team is Roshan Johnson's my RB2 right now. I genuinely don't know how.
I'm excited to either start Matt Stafford for a second week straight or Deshaun Watson coming back from injury. I can't wait.
Yikes. All right, let's get into it today. We're going to start off, as usual, with Mentor Bench. If you're in the comments right now, let us know your dilemmas this week, and we'll go through them as well. So let's start. Who would you rather start? Aaron Jones at Denver, James Cook at New England, or Brian Robinson at New York?
If he's healthy, it's got to be Aaron Jones for me. That Denver defense is so bad, and I don't love Aaron Jones this year, but I love anyone that's playing the Broncos. So assuming that he's fully healthy, it's going to be Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Aaron Jones, obviously, probably the best out of the three anyways. I do like Brian Robinson. I think he's still a lot of upside, but Aaron Jones is probably the safest pick.
Yeah, no news yet as of Wednesday on whether he's practicing or not. I'm sure we'll hear a little more this afternoon. Bonus question. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, would you start A.J. Dillon over either of those two guys just because of the matchup?
Nah.
I would be tempted, but I don't think so. I think I'd probably go B-Rob.
No, I'm in the same, but I'm probably not touching him.
I think I would. He had 20 carries for 70-something yards and a touchdown the week before the bye. I think I would fire him up versus Denver just because, I mean, that's a little crazy to say, but I just think that matchup, everybody who's played Denver has gone for like 150 yards and a touchdown. So it's pretty Swiss cheese over there. All right, let's move on. Zach, coming to you. Puka Nacua versus Pittsburgh, Devontae Smith versus Miami, or Mike Evans versus Atlanta?
Ooh. A lot of solid matchups here. But I'd say the one that has the biggest upside out of the three might be Mike Evans. I mean, he's the only wide receiver one out of these three anyways. Atlanta's secondary is solid, but it's nothing too crazy. Baker Mayfield hasn't looked completely terrible. And yeah, I mean, Puka's value has gone down a bit. I think he's still a solid wide receiver two with fantasy value, even being the wide receiver two on his own team. And then Devonta Smith going against Miami. I know Miami's defense is nothing too crazy, but at the same time, he's looked rough these past couple of weeks. So I have the most faith in Mike Evans right now.
Yeah. I'm tempted to pick a bounce back week for Puka. And I think he will have a bounce back week, but I also think that the Mike Evans matchup against Atlanta is probably the best out of the three of these, and he's probably the best player out of the three of these. So all logic says to pick Mike Evans, but I do kind of like the idea of a Puka bounce back.
I'm going Puka, man. I think Matt Stafford might throw the ball 60 times this week with Kyron Williams out and whoever their backup is also out, and they're starting Zach Evans. I don't think that they're going to give him 25 carries in this game. I think it's going to be Stafford chucking it. I think Puka and Cooper Kupp both see 10-plus targets in this game, at least, maybe 20 each. It's going to be a lot of throwing the ball. So I think I'm firing up Puka Nacua. But I like the Mike Evans matchup as well. He's back. He's fully healthy, so he should be good to go and in your lineup. Let's get to the quarterbacks here. Kirk Cousins versus San Francisco, Jared Goff at Baltimore, or Jordan Love at Denver. Jack?
I think I'm going with the goofball himself, Jared Goff. I think that's the move. Jordan Love has the best matchup, but I also definitely trust Jordan Love the least of these three guys. Kirk Cousins has had a really good year, but San Francisco is just a brutal matchup. And Baltimore is not easy for Jared Goff, but the Lions offense has just been rolling the last few weeks. Goff has been awesome for fantasy. He's been a borderline must-start quarterback the last few weeks. And I'm just going to bet on the fact that continues.
What if I told you guys that right now Jared Goff is ranked QB4 in fantasy? Would you believe me?
I would.
Because it is absolutely true. There's a reason why 15% of people picked him up on waivers this week. Honestly, I'm shocked that still less than 70% of leagues have him rostered on ESPN. Absolutely insane. I think it's Jared Goff without a shadow of a doubt. He has been phenomenal in fantasy, completely underrated. I've been underrating him personally. I don't have him starting in many of my leagues. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny a guy who's been playing out of his mind and just has a really good offensive system around him. Even with a tough matchup against Baltimore, I do like Jared Goff the most. I think he has the most upside.
Man, Jack snagged him up for me in the staff league. I just realized, and he has this dilemma of Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins in the staff league this week. I would probably roll with Jared Goff as well, because with David Montgomery out, I don't see them leaning on Craig Reynolds the way that they have with David Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs is also trending towards playing, but I feel like they could get him involved in the receiving game as well. So I think this is a nice spot for Jared Goff. However, Baltimore is 31st in points allowed to quarterbacks. So it's going to be tough sledding, but he should probably be good for at least 15 points this week. I do like Jordan Love, though, and I'm personally rolling with Jordan Love with Joe Burrow on the bye this week. All right, Jack, coming to you. DJ Moore versus Las Vegas, DK Metcalf versus Arizona, or Michael Pittman versus Cleveland?
Yeah, this is not easy. I think it has to be DK for me, because a Pittman matchup against Cleveland is not easy. That's just Cleveland's defense has been awesome this year. And DJ Moore versus Vegas is a great matchup, but Tyson Bagent is going to be their quarterback, probably. So I don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. And Arizona's a relatively easy matchup for DK Metcalf. I don't think I'm expecting a huge explosive week, but you could probably get a solid 17 out of him, and that might be better than the other two.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting matchup here with all three of these guys. Immediately, I'm away from Pittman, though, because that Cleveland defense is insane. It's hard to get anything going against them through the air, on the ground, anything. So I would not be touching any Colt this week. To me, it's probably DK Metcalf. DJ Moore has just been super inconsistent this year, where 1 week he goes off for more points than you've ever seen. The next week he puts up like 5. So I think it's DK Metcalf. He's more consistent than DJ Moore easily. He's going against a weak Arizona defense. He's definitely the match for me.
Hey, Mr. Brian.
Hey.
He needs a second. Nice of you to show up. All right. For me, I'm going to say DK Metcalf on this one as well. DJ Moore, he's been surprisingly a little more consistent than he has been in past years, which is not saying much. But I agree that with whoever they're starting at quarterback, I don't feel great about firing him up. And I think DK Metcalf has the best matchup easily against the Cardinals. He's done well against them in the past. There's no Budda Baker to chase him down. There's no Budda Baker for him to chase down, but that was the other way around. I like DK Metcalf this week. I think the Seahawks are going to put it to the Cardinals, and it's going to be a great win for Seattle, and he's going to get a lot of points. Let's move on to fantasy over-under. All right. Fantasy point over-under, Jalen Hurts over 23.5 points versus Miami. Zach.
23.5 is a big ask, but this is not a Miami defense that has been known for being, above average, just being, out of this world. I think Hurts will be able to have the high-end talent to be able to get over this point total. I think it's going to be a shootout on Sunday Night Football. So give me the over here with Jalen Hurts.
I think if the Eagles are going to win this game, it's going to need to be an over for Jalen Hurts. They're going to need him to be playing at his best, which he hasn't been the last few weeks. But I don't think Miami's defense is anything special. I think he's going to have that opportunity, and they're going to be trusting him a lot. They're going to be giving him a lot of opportunities to throw the ball, make plays with his legs as well in this game. I'm going to take the over because I think the game script will dictate that he's going to need to be doing that.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts. Oh, your audio is still out there, Brian. Yeah, we can't hear you. All right, so Jalen Hurts is, I believe, the QB3 in fantasy right now, and that's largely due to the tush push. I think I saw a stat somewhere that said without the tush push, he's like the QB16 on the season. His passing has not been great. He's not thrown more than 2 touchdowns in a single game this year. Yeah, there it is. Hot mic.
Oh, we hear that.
QB2, by the way, QB2. At least on ESPN, he's ranked as QB2.
There you go. So Jalen Hurts, QB2 this year. I'm gonna say over because I agree that if they win this game, it's gonna need to be over. And I think that Jalen Hurts, the one thing about him is he's got a great attitude. And after losing that game last week, he's going to right the ship. And I think that they said it's not about what happens in those games. It's about how you respond. And I think on primetime against possibly the best team in the AFC or in the NFL, I think it's going to have to be over. Brian, thoughts?
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. Jeez. All right. Sorry about that. I think it's way over. I think this game is a huge score spot for both sides. I think the Eagles are finally going to kind of unleash it, get rid of the tush push for a week and start to play real football. And I think, he could be upwards of 29-30. I think it's going to be that big of a game. So I'm excited about it. I just think this is the game for both teams to say we're Super Bowl contenders for sure. So.
Quick little actual breaking news we have from Schefter. Cardinals have designated Kyler Murray to return from injury reserve. Jack, your day has finally come.
He's about to cook. Let Kyler cook,
Wow.
baby. Let's go.
He is back.
I got Dobbs higher, but go ahead. Do whatever you need.
Oh, my God.
Dobbs better.
And I
Brian's always trying to test me out here.
And
I'm just
dropped
messing
Michael
with you
Wilson this morning.
Dobbs better.
But next time there's breaking news, let us run. We have a breaking news reel. I love it. Come on, you gotta let me use that.
Honestly, that's my favorite thing we're able to do on this show.
Exactly.
I forgot that we were live.
Man, should I add Kyler Murray right now in my other league?
Oh. I should totally.
So
do
wait a
that.
second. A week ago, there was a story that they were going to trade him. Was that just made up? That they didn't plan on actually bringing him back to play?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I thought I heard that too.
Oh wow, someone else already has him.
Maybe you have to activate him off the PUP to trade him.
Right.
Is that
right.
possible?
I do think that's true, which makes me wonder about. Now, granted, if they trade him, there's going to be a team that wants to play him right away. So it's still worth. Obviously, he's worth rostering, but
I actually don't even know if I can pick him up because I was going to pick him up, but I would have to drop either Zach Ertz or Michael Wilson, and I feel like kind of
Schefter edited. It's officially returned from the PUP list, not injured reserve, but whatever, same difference.
So he can start practicing at some point, essentially.
Yeah. Is it worth adding him for like one of Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff? Is he a better quarterback?
Is it a dynasty or keeper league?
No.
Then no, absolutely not. No. Not in my opinion.
Yeah.
See, I already have Lamar Jackson and Geno Smith, but I don't know if it's worth adding.
It might be worth adding over Geno.
I wouldn't. You don't even know if he's going to play in the next 4 weeks.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. But like
this is not me saying Geno Smith is better than Kyler Murray. This is me saying, like redraft, you only have so many weeks. So
yeah, I'm so tempted to get him on my IR and just like have him sit there until he's like really activated.
Is he picked up in our league? I'll trade him to you if I can get him first.
That's what I'm trying to do in our league. But like my bench is so good.
My bench is too good. It's not worth. And my IR spot is already filled. It's not worth.
Yeah, I was looking at my money league bench, and it's like, do I really want to drop George Pickens for a guy like Jared?
I was like, I would have to drop.
Do I really want to drop him when I feel like I could still get value for him? No.
I don't even have a backup quarterback in our league.
Yeah, I don't have a backup in my money. I have a backup in our league, but I don't have a backup in my money league. So,
all right. Well, thank you for the breaking news, Zach. But we will continue with our regularly scheduled programming. So we're gonna look at a tight end who breakout season potentially. Are you starting Kyle Pitts over? All right, Kyle Pitts back-to-back weeks, 14 plus fantasy points. The week before it was all yardage. This past week he found the end zone. And Jonnu Smith found the end zone. So it doesn't look like it's one or the other. I think both these guys are startable. So are you starting Kyle Pitts over Hunter Henry? And let's go Zach, Jack, Brian. Oh, wait. You're totally right. We totally skipped a lot of those over-unders.
We did.
Okay. Well, let's
only did Jalen.
Let's go back to the over-unders then. I thought we would finish that segment. We'll save Kyle Pitts. We'll put him
I just thought maybe I missed it and y'all went bottom to top or something.
No, you know what? You're absolutely right. We'll put Kyle Pitts on ice for a sec. Whoever's listening to this audio episode is having a rough go.
Just like the Falcons have.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to fantasy point over-under. So over-under 17.8 points for Jordan Love at Denver.
Oh, I think it's going to be an over just because it's Denver. Like, I don't have that much confidence in Jordan Love right now, but he's playing the Broncos, which is just like a fantasy point feeding ground. So it's got to be the over.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think Jordan Love, had a rough week last week, going to have a bounce back week against a very weak Denver defense. Give me the over here with Jordan Love.
I really, really want to say the over, and I think this matchup is way too juicy, and he's going to hit the under. I just think in the end, he's not going to have more than 2 passing touchdowns, and it's going to be hard. It's hard for him to get the yards. I think they're going to rely on the ground game, and he hits the under. I want him to hit the over. I have a lot of Christian Watson that I'm going to hope works out this week, but I just think he's under.
All right, this is a good one. Kenneth Walker, over under 19 points versus Arizona.
Yeah, that 19's a lot. But Arizona's defense is pretty bad, and Kenneth Walker's been actually really good this year. So, I think it's the over for me. I think it's the over. It's a high number, so like you always feel like not 100% confident when you're saying someone's going to get 20 points. But he's playing Arizona. He's been really good this year. And I think that they're going to get up pretty big and probably run the ball a lot after that happens. So I'll take the over.
Yeah, I like the over as well. Look, I mean, Schefter also just tweeted that Buda Baker's coming back, but he's clearly an Eagle, so it doesn't matter. He's not going to play for them. It's not a big deal. He's clearly going to be an Eagle because we need it. We need a guy like him so badly. We're probably going to trade fucking 3 draft picks for him. I don't know. Buda Baker's going to be an Eagle, so it doesn't really matter. It's a very weak Arizona defense in general. I agree with Jack. I think they're going to run all over them when they get up bigger. But yeah, give me Kenneth Walker with the easy over against a weak Arizona defense.
No way. This is under. Come on. 19.4 points is a lot of points. And I think you finally see some Zach Charbonnet in for Seattle here because I do think they'll be up. No, I mean, look, I think he has a great day. Obviously, if you have Ken Walker, you're not benching him. So you're rolling with him, but I don't think he's over 19.4.
I think I love Kenneth Walker this week, and he is ranked the number 2 running back on Fantasy Pros this week, only behind Austin Eckler. That's with CMC dropping quite far down the list. Bijan Robinson also dropped pretty far down the list because Falcons just love Tyler Algier for some reason. So Kenneth Walker, I'm going to say over this week. He's been pretty steady at that around 18-point mark in most of his games. He had exactly 18 last week. Week before that, 14, 31, and 18. So I think that he's primed to go over this week in a very good matchup versus the Cardinals. They should be up. The Seahawks should be up in this game. I think he should get in the end zone at least once, maybe twice. So I love Ken Walker every week, honestly. He might be genuinely like a top 5 running back in dynasty leagues and just like in general rest of season. He's completely beat the Zach Charbonnet allegations, and he's been awesome this year. All right, let's go. Ooh, this is a good one. Saquon Barkley over under 18 points versus Washington.
I think it's a slight under for me. I think he's going to get a lot of volume. I think that will probably bode well for him. And Washington's defense is good, not great. So, like, I think he could have some production in this game. But 18 is pretty high. He's coming off of an injury. And the Giants' offense generally just doesn't seem to score enough points to sustain a guy that's going to drop 20 in fantasy. So I think it's going to be a slight under for me.
Yeah, for me, I don't think this is a slight under. I think this is a clear under. That Washington defensive line should just eat all of those rushing attempts alive. The Giants' offensive line is not going to help him whatsoever. I don't think he comes close to 18 points. This is an easy under.
I think it's under, but only slightly. I have to say under if I said under for Ken Walker because those 2-point over totals are about the same. But I was impressed with Barkley last week coming off the injury against the Bills defense, which I know is a little depleted, but they're not bad against the run. And I was impressed with him. So I think they lean on him just as many. He had like 24 touches last week. So they're not like easing him back. So I think it's under, but I think it's like 16, 17, somewhere up in there.
All right, let's go. Another tough one in an interesting matchup this week in the Niners game. Brandon Ayuk over under 14.5 points at Minnesota.
This is an over for me. I think that for a couple reasons. Minnesota's defense is improved from last year, but it's still not great. So it's a relatively solid matchup. Also, Debo's banged up. McCaffrey's banged up. Ayuk is just about him and Kittle are about the only healthy options the Niners have right now. And I think Purdy just happens to like Ayuk a lot at the best at times. He throws the ball his way a lot. I think his target share is going to be about as high as it'll be all season in this game. And he should have a really good PPR floor, let alone whatever else he does with the ball in his hands. So I'm going to definitely take the over here for Ayuk.
This one feels like it could go either way to me. Brandon Ayuk has, he shows the flashes of being able to score big games, have those big games, get like 30 points. And then he also has duds where he doesn't get the ball thrown to him a lot. But with the recent injuries and questionability of Debo and CMC, I do think he gets a higher target share. So I think this is going to be a slight over for Brandon Ayuk. He's going to get a few more opportunities than we usually see for him, and that should lead to him hitting the over here.
I'm with Jack. I think this is way over. I think the fact that CMC probably won't be there and Debo probably won't be there and George Kittle hasn't been there all except for one game. I'm excited to start Ayuk this week. I'm starting him over Mike Evans, who's playing Atlanta. I'm starting him over, Curtis Samuel and, a couple other people. I just think this is a great spot for him. It's on Monday night. It's going to win you a matchup.
By the way, just to go back to the Kyler Murray thing for a sec, we just got a tweet that said the head coach Jonathan Gannon on Kyler Murray and how much he's doing at practice. Full go. End quote. So
Full go.
We'll see when he comes back. But, the Cardinals are currently 1-5. Don't know how much sense it actually makes to bring him back. Because if he wins you,
the only sense it makes is if you're going to trade him.
Yeah, I agree. They're right there in the Caleb Williams, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's them, the Patriots, and the Bears basically fighting it out.
So
the Bears.
Wait, so then who do we think who do we think needs a guy like Kyler Murray then?
Bring him on to New England.
No.
If we can't get Caleb Williams, just give us the old number one pick.
Actually, I got the spot. I think he would be great in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think Atlanta would be a great
Atlanta would be great.
Atlanta's the team I always think about when a quarterback's name comes up because it's really the only piece they're missing.
And yet Taylor Heineke's sitting right there on the bench, collecting dust.
Yeah.
Maybe also, I know they're doing better than expected, but if they fall off a little bit, maybe Tampa Bay.
I think they like Baker though.
I think
like super long term, but
it's kind of my thing. Where Baker, you don't see him as a long term guy. You see him as kind of like a stopgap between franchise guys, and maybe they think Kyler could be that guy. Maybe I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
I just wanted to let you guys know that Brian just picked up Kyler Murray in the staff league and then offered him to me for Bijan Robinson.
Trade up, bruh. Come on,
trade up, Jack. Trade up.
Ooh,
I'll let you change your team name.
Chef in the chat says the Jets. Interesting.
Yeah,
I think they are on. I think they're on something, thinking that Aaron Rodgers is coming back this year.
No, but I think the idea of Kyler for them is pretty good. Like that defense is too good for them to be bad enough to get a top quarterback pretty much any year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way you realistically think Zach Wilson's the long-term plan at this point. I don't think it's a bad idea at all for them to go out and trade for
They
Kyler.
are not trading for Kyler. They don't want to piss off Aaron Rodgers as soon as he, gets back or anything. Look, I don't think Aaron Rodgers plays this season. I really don't. I think he's out for the rest of the year. But if the Jets traded for Murray, that'd just be like, so you guys signed me to this big contract for what? You're just gonna have Kyler Murray play instead of me until I'm back? Like, is Kyler Murray if I'm doing bad, does that just mean that Kyler Murray's taking my spot all of a sudden? Like,
yeah.
What
exactly
about the
what
Giants?
I'm just saying it would completely piss off Rodgers. Giants make more sense, but they also just paid their quarterback a big amount of money. So
they can't get out of that. How are they getting out of that contract?
No, they can. They have an out.
In
But it's
2
2
years.
years.
in like a year and a half. It's not going to happen right overnight.
They're going to eat the contract for the next year and a half, and then they.
But they
Or
can't.
maybe
There's no
they
luxury
do
tax
it. They
in the
do it to
NFL.
light a
Look,
fire under Daniel Jones's. Seat.
All I'm going to say is that unless a deal for Kyler Murray involves Daniel Jones somehow, they're not doing it.
All right,
Yeah,
even
horrible
craziest
idea either.
spot. Matthew Stafford retires and he goes to the Rams. Not that they would ever trade him to a
They
division
would never
rival.
trade him in the division.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they would. Maybe they want to see him twice a year.
I don't think they do.
With the way he's played.
I
the last
wonder
couple years.
I wonder what the actual compensation for a Kyler Murray trade would be. I don't know that he demands a first round pick.
I don't know what his value is either. Like
I don't think anyone does.
Speaking
He's
as a team
so-
that needs a quarterback, I'm just supposing.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about in the
honestly,
dynasty
I
league?
would love him in
No,
Pittsburgh.
I'm talking about the New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
I would love
Pittsburgh
him.
would be interesting, but I don't think it's Pickett's fault that they're doing bad. So
No, they still believe in Pickett. I think he's too
No,
young.
no, but I think Kyler's ceiling is so much higher than Kenny's. I mean, Kyler has the ceiling to me of being a borderline top 5 quarterback, and I think Kenny has the ceiling of being a top half quarterback. So
Yeah, I would agree.
there's
With
but
Jack
the
there.
hometown kid,
But what are you getting rid of Trubisky, the best backup quarterback in the NFL?
That's Jameis Winston.
Yes.
Come on.
No, I do actually believe that he's in the top 5 of backup quarterbacks.
All right. Well, now we're actually going to move on because I don't care about DJ Moore. So we're gonna go to Kyle Pitts. All right. This guy you probably benched him the 1 week that he went off, and rightfully so. However, we gotta ask the hard questions of: are you starting Kyle Pitts over Hunter Henry? Let's go, Zach, Jack, Brian.
Hunter Henry's a guy that I thought had shown some promise earlier in the season, but he has not lived up to any of it. This is easily Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Henry hasn't been that good the last few weeks, as the whole Patriots offense has been pretty bad the last few weeks. So I'll go with Kyle Pitts.
Oh yeah, it's Kyle Pitts. I mean, you can't trust anybody on that Patriots offense right now.
Yeah, after week 1 and 2, I thought Hunter Henry was going to be my set and forget tight end, but he is my drop and forget tight end after the last few weeks. He's just been, I think he has 2 0-point games in the last 3 weeks, and the one that he didn't, he got like 3 points. So it's just been awful. Yeah, can't really trust him there. All right, this is an interesting name, Michael Mayer of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Before I get into talking about Michael Mayer, there is no way the Colts are giving up on Anthony Richardson this soon. There's no way. That is a very dumb proposition in our YouTube comments. I'm just saying. They're not.
Down.
No, I'm not calmed down. It's very stupid. Anthony Richardson looks awesome. Back to Michael Mayer. I'm still easily starting Kyle Pitts over Michael Mayer. Easily.
Yeah, Mayer had a really good game last week, and I like him. If I'm in a dynasty league, I love Michael Mayer, but as of right now, it's got to be Pitts.
Let's just be real. An A-Rich for Kyler Murray trade doesn't matter because neither of them are ever sniffing close to a Super Bowl. Secondly,
Oh, my God.
they're just the wrong type of quarterback. They're not going to win.
What's that?
Lamar
say?
Jackson can't even get to the Super Bowl. How are they going to do it?
What's that?
Anyway.
Supposed to be?
What I'm saying
Lamar
is they have
Jackson.
similar playing styles, and Lamar Jackson's had a tough time winning games in the playoffs.
And yet Jalen Hurts.
He's more of a thrower than any of those. He's more accurate.
Lamar
as a thrower
Jackson has a
than
better
any of
arm than Jalen Hurts.
but he's not as
Yes.
accurate. He's
Yes.
not nearly as accurate.
Accurate as
not.
throwing 3 picks to lose the game last week.
Yes, and if you're gonna look at a small sample size, you're right. If you're gonna look at the whole,
I don't think it's that small.
you're wrong.
Jalen Hurts has never thrown more than 25 touchdowns in a season.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I
make
honestly
him not
think
accurate.
No, he doesn't have the greatest arm in the world. He relies a lot on his legs, and he that gives him a lot of upside, especially in fantasy with the tush push. But
Yeah.
I think as far as a real life quarterback goes, he has one of the weaker arms in the league. I
Give
do
Lamar Jackson,
genuinely-
AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith, and they'll catch
Yes,
the ball.
that's different. He doesn't have AJ Brown and Devontae.
If you want to talk about
Devontae
accuracy,
Smith.
how many balls hit Nelson Aguilar right in the hands last week?
Yeah.
Disgusting.
All right, back on
Yeah.
Michael Mayer.
I'm not a hater of Lamar
Wow,
Jackson.
Michael
just so
Mayer
we're
has gotten
clear.
sidetracked like 3 different times.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
Michael Mayer, no way. Kyle Pitts, yes, I like him better.
All right, Tyler Higbee.
Tyler Higbee has not been that good this year in fantasy. He was a very interesting streamer option last year at best. So I'm starting Kyle Pitts. I'm very surprised that we're even having this conversation where Kyle Pitts has actually had a few decent weeks in fantasy. But yeah, I'm starting him over Tyler Higbee. So weird to say that.
Yeah, no, this is an easy Kyle Pitts for me. I'm not going to waste too much oxygen here.
I agree. I don't think this is a question. What has Tyler Higbee done? If he was going to do something this year, was the year when you had no superstar wide receiver.
I'm just waiting for everybody in the comments to tell us, you told me to start Kyle Pitts, and he had 2 points this week. So that's going to be fun. Zach
Well,
Ertz.
If your other option is Higbee, then we made the right choice, I'm sure.
Zach Ertz.
Love me some Zach Ertz, but like Jack said, we're not going to waste too much oxygen on this. It is Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz had a really good target share, but I actually think Kyler coming back may hurt him. I think Dobbs really likes him as a target and maybe likes him more than Kyler, so I'll go Pitts.
Yeah, it's absolutely. There's no like I would have to be in the depths of waiver wire hell to start Zach Ertz on any team I have.
That's me. Hey, he hasn't been too bad. He's been steady 8 to 10 points most weeks.
I just hate it. I just hate myself.
Oh, I hate it too, but it's where we're at in the year. All right, Gerald Everett. We're talking about tight ends here. Gerald Everett.
I know what we're doing.
A guy that I thought would be a lot better in fantasy than he actually is. Everett's been a bit of a disappointment. I'm taking Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, easy Pitts here for me.
It's hard for me just with this matchup against the Chiefs. I think you have to at least think about it with Gerald Everett. But no, I'm probably staying with Kyle Pitts and hoping Desmond Ridder remembers the glory that was last week.
All right, his own counterpart, Jonnu Smith.
This is hilarious.
I don't know why we're talking about Jonnu Smith. I know he had a really good game this past week, but Kyle Pitts has been more consistent. So give me Kyle Pitts.
That's actually false. And
it is absolutely false.
Objectively wrong.
Jonnu Smith has gotten in the last 5 weeks 14, 11, 15, 9, and 9.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know a single person who has Jonnu Smith on their roster right now.
Also me. It's Jonnu Smith and Zach Ertz.
Also me. I apologize. Zach, just say I apologize. I was not familiar with your game.
I was not familiar with Jonnu Smith's game.
Come on, former Patriot for like a week.
I was not familiar with Jonnu Smith's game, but at the same time, Kyle Pitts still has the better upside long term. So I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. So I'm going to go Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, if you want to guarantee – oh, I'm not next, am I? Or am I?
Yeah, no, you're not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Zach just
honestly,
pissed me off.
It's definitely an interesting conversation. It depends what you're looking for. If you want a boom or bust play, obviously it's Kyle Pitts. Jonnu's been quite consistent this year. And I think if you want a consistent option, if you have a good team already and you're just looking for a guy that's going to get you 9 to 13 every week, I would go with Jonnu. I mean, I'm more confident in Jonnu falling in that range than Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is either getting 3 or 15. There's no difference. So it depends what you're looking for. Me personally, generally, I prefer consistency. It might be Jonnu.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
I was going to say, isn't it funny that the Falcons have 2 generational superstar talents and the backups on both of those positions get a lot of touches both games with Tyler Algier and Jonnu Smith eating into it? It's kind of funny that happened. It's like if it happened once, you'd have a nickel, but it's weird that you have 2 nickels, you know?
Well, I think what we're seeing, so Kyle Pitts has burned you so many, years at this point, but the last 2 weeks, 15.7, 14.3 points, that's as consistent as he's been in his career the last 2 weeks. So I'm probably leaning Pitts, but I'm not feeling great about it. Jonnu's got a higher floor because, Pitts could get you -2 with a fumble.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is like the Godfather. Just when you think you're out, he pulls you back in. It's awful. All right, Cole Kmet. Now this changes with Justin Fields being out.
It definitely changes. At the same time, though, these are both 2 tight ends who are benefiting off of 2 big weeks in their season so far. Cole Kmet technically had the bigger week overall, where he had week 4 he had 27 and week 5 he had 15. So those are the 2 big weeks for him. And we already went over Kyle Pitts' 2 big weeks. But since Justin Fields is out, I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. But I don't love picking one of these guys over the other.
No. It's definitely, this one's a little tough. I think the edge to me goes to Kyle Pitts just because of the Justin Fields injury. Not to say that I like Justin Fields, but I like him more than Tyson Bagent. So the slight edge goes to Pitts.
Let's just delve into the fact that you like him better than Bagent. Great job. Good analysis.
Right.
I literally cut Kyle Pitts 2 weeks ago and picked up Cole Kmet in a league. And it was great for 1 week. And then last week it stunk. And now somebody's already picked up Pitts. So I would rather have Pitts at this point. But
Away she goes, Brian. All right. Logan Thomas, probably the hottest pickup of last week, and then got 1 point.
Another player who's benefiting off of 2 good weeks, but they are not back-to-back weeks. So at the very least, we can argue that Kyle Pitts has shown a little bit more consistency. Like Brian said, the most consistency he's ever shown in his career. I'm going Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, this one's pretty easily Pitts for me. Thomas has had one really good week. He had that 120 bomb, not last week, but the week before. I'm not a big Logan Thomas guy. It's got to be Pitts.
Yeah, Logan Thomas is like, when your parents always late to pick you up from school and you keep trusting in them. One day they came on time, but every other day they're like 45 minutes late. We won't get into my therapy, but it's Kyle Pitts.
What happened, Brian?
Are you okay? We are here if you need to talk.
I'm plenty okay. That was a long time ago, and it's not true.
All right. Well, we're about 8 or 9 names deep, and so far we have not had a single no. So this is where the real action starts. Darren Waller.
You will never guess how Darren Waller's season has gone so far. He has 2 weeks where he's had solid numbers, just like Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts is the only one who has had those in the last 2 weeks. Darren Waller's 2 weeks of having double-digit scores were not back-to-back weeks. So arguably right now, Kyle Pitts is being more consistent. So I can't believe I'm saying this, especially with what going into the season, I thought Darren Waller would be a top 5 fantasy tight end. And now I'm saying that I would start Kyle Pitts over him.
Yeah, I'm like so fed up with Darren Waller right now. I can't stand him. I'm trying to get him out of every lineup that I have him in, which is more than one. And I would take Kyle Pitts for sure.
Yeah, when it comes to tight end, I think you're trying for 10 points. And over the last 2 weeks, Darren Waller has averaged over that. He had 8 catches for 86 and 5 for 43. This week, I'd probably play Waller against Washington rather than Pitts against Tampa. But the rest of the season, it's Pitts.
Dare I say that Darren Waller and Kyle Pitts are the same player? Like, I hate to say it. I love Darren Waller. But also, who got more offseason hype, Darren Waller or Calvin Ridley?
I think Waller.
I really want to say Waller. Everyone had really high expectations for that
until training camp, because then the hype was just insane in Jacksonville.
But also in training camp for the Giants, it said that they had to bench Darren Waller in practice because Daniel Jones was only throwing to him, and
Yeah, exactly. That
1 yard out. They didn't say it was all 1 yard out.
I really do want to argue that Darren Waller had more hype. I really do.
I will say about Darren Waller, the targets have been there, 18 targets over the last 2 weeks. And if you were to start him, his next 5 weeks is green matchups. So I say if you have Darren Waller, I think you still absolutely have to start him over Kyle Pitts, because he doesn't have another tight end that he's competing for targets with. So I just think that you have to – he also doesn't have any single receiver on that team that he's competing for targets with outside of maybe Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah. So I think that Kyle Pitts is not the lead.
And that's why this shouldn't be a conversation, but he's underperformed so much that it is. You look at the Giants on paper, it seems perfectly built for Darren Waller to be a top 5 tight end this year, and he just has not performed that way. I'm just saying.
True. All right, let's move on. We got 4 names left. Evan Ingram.
All right, before we all start saying that we would start these guys over Kyle Pitts, I just want to say, if any of you guys want Kyle Pitts, I have him in the staff league. If you guys want to trade for him,
no thanks.
We've definitely hyped up Kyle Pitts a lot. He's available. Send me your best offers. With that being said, this is definitively Evan Ingram. He's had a great campaign so far this year. I think he's ranked top 5, top 6. He's ranked 6 right now, tight end 6 right now in fantasy. He's actually been pretty consistent overall, scoring just over double digits. And that's what you ask for. You ask for a little bit over 10 points every week from your tight end. If you get that, you love that. So give me Evan Ingram here.
Yeah, it's Evan Ingram for me too. He's been the model of consistency this year, which is kind of crazy to say for Evan Ingram, who was just not consistent whatsoever in his years in New York. But ever since he's got to Jacksonville, the last 2 seasons, he's been awesome. It's got to be him.
Yeah, this one's not even close. Evan Ingram. He's a top 6 tight end, like Zach said. Just roll with it.
Easy peasy. Dallas Goedert.
A tight end that had a big week 2 weeks ago and then had a solid week last week. We know what Dallas Goedert can be, and I think there's an argument to be made that Dallas Goedert might be the move for the rest of the season. But then you kind of look at the schedules. I'm looking at the Falcons schedule right now, and you could argue that they might have it a bit easier down the stretch. So weirdly enough, I might lean Pitts here because I know the Eagles have a really tough stretch ahead, and I know just in general, the Falcons do not have the Eagles schedule. So I might lean Pitts on this for right now.
Yeah, I think these are two similar players in the sense that they both have high upside at the tight end position, but they're both relatively inconsistent. But at the same time, Goddard has shown consistency in the past, just not this season. And Pitts has never shown consistency at any point in his career. So for that reason, I think it has to be Goddard for me. But I don't hate going Pitts over Goddard.
I think the Eagles' passing game is going to even out a little bit. A.J. Brown had a tough week 2 and then complained on the sideline, and he's been getting fed for 4 straight weeks. So I think Goddard, I think that's going to settle down a little bit. I think the tush push is going to settle down a little bit, and they're going to have as traditional of an offense as the Eagles have. So I'm all over Goddard. There's no way I would start him. I would start Pitts over him.
I'm with you, Brian. There's no way I would start Pitts over Goddard either. However, they just added a 7-time Pro Bowler to that offense, so you never know how that's gonna even out with Julio Jones.
I think his impact is going to be super low. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I think the fact that we signed Julio Jones is hilarious for immaculate grid purposes. It's so funny.
Until he appears in a game, though, he's not going to be.
Yeah. He has to appear in a game, and he will. He's on the practice squad right now, and then he'll be elevated.
He's on the practice squad. Bill, go pick him up.
No, I'm pretty sure 1-year deal, and then he's going to be elevated throughout the week or whatever. Who knows?
We got a comment. Julio Jones is always good for 1 60-yard touchdown before injury every year.
I'll take it. That's honestly Watkins would have done. So
okay. Was Julio Jones better on the Titans or the Buccaneers?
Ooh.
I kind of blocked out that he and A.J. Brown played together in Tennessee.
Which is
yeah. I would probably say he was better in Tennessee, just because he actually was a top target there, and in Tampa he was sort of what he is on the Eagles now, kind of an afterthought. So yeah, probably Tennessee, but he wasn't good in either place.
I'm just gonna say I don't think I can recall a single Julio Jones highlight in my head that was not in an Atlanta Falcons uniform. So I don't have an answer. I guess I'll lean Tennessee, but even then, I do not want to put in the effort to look up those stats right now, so I can't really say.
Were Julio and Antonio Brown on the Bucs at the same time?
Were they?
No, I think Julio came after.
Now I do.
Yeah, I think that was the year before. Yeah.
I thought that I think I made up in my head that there was a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones,
there's no way they were on the same team.
What a hot-headed receiver room that is.
Oh,
yeah.
By the way, give me the under on 1 60-yard touchdown this year for Julio Jones.
I don't think he's fast enough to outrun anybody for 60 yards anymore.
Yeah, maybe he'll get a goal line fade.
Yeah, I could see that happening, or some type of they put him for the tush push and
he just wanted to wear the Kelly Greens. He's going to play for a week, get the Kelly Greens, and then retire with his Kelly Green jersey.
No, that's going to be a classic of how they do those things sometimes when there's players in the wrong jersey. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a classic.
Yeah, 20 years from now, you're going to look at something and say, "Is this picture real or AI generated?" And it's Julio.
I'm just going to say, Julio Jones, Kelly Green Eagles jerseys are going to need to be retired in fraternity homes. They are going to hang in the rafters. I think those things will sell they will sell out instantly. I think it's just such a random jersey. It's going to be fantastic. I don't even know. We don't even know what number he's wearing yet.
Wait, Ocho Cinco and Terrell Owens somehow played on the Bengals for 1 year together.
Yeah, that's wild.
Wow.
Ochocinco was
Yeah,
also
no,
a
I don't know how
Patriot
they
for
made
like
it
1
this
year.
year.
He caught 1 touchdown from Tom Brady.
There it is.
Ochocinco.
He is
Yeah.
wearing
I've seen an Ochocinco Patriots jersey before. That's the only reason I
Julio
know.
Jones, number 80. Number 80 for Julio Jones.
Ooh, I like it. That's a great
I
choice.
actually do
Ew.
like that. I was hoping for something like that, so I like 80.
All right, we got 2 names to finish off this
AJ Brown
list.
should give up 11.
Yeah. And Darius Slay should give up 2. All right, we got 2 names left. George Kittle.
Kittle is so inconsistent.
Is it your
Oh
turn
yeah,
to
it's
answer?
not my turn.
Is it your turn to answer?
Yeah. I would like
He's the Niners guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Give him a break.
Mr. Niners guy getting a little excited.
too excited.
No, but I mean, I think right now with McCaffrey and Debo both, probably out, I think this is easily Kittle short term. But long term, with all those weapons in the offense, I might lean Pitts for the rest of the season. Kind of depends on how McCaffrey and Debo are doing. But for right now, I'm going to say Kittle.
No. I mean, the last 3 weeks of George Kittle have been the most George Kittle 3 weeks ever. He went from 1.9 to 27.7 to 1.1. The most George Kittle 3-week stretch of all time. Because some weeks he goes crazy, some weeks he just doesn't get the football. That's just the way it goes with him. And honestly, it might be Kyle Pitts right now. If Pitts is going to get the ball on a consistent basis, which he has for the last 2 weeks, it remains to be seen if that continues. But if he's going to have some form of consistency, that might be better than George Kittle.
It's absolutely Kittle. There's no – I agree with you, Jack, what you're saying. And Kyle Pitts, that was his whole career, was 2 points, 4 points, 3 points. It's only been 2 weeks. Let's not be crazy.
What if I told you that over the last 3 weeks, Kyle Pitts has more fantasy points than George Kittle?
I knew that.
No, I believe it.
Kittle's had 2 1-point games.
It's not that far. It's like 34 to 31. It's very close. But
No, I believe it. Yeah.
That's honestly closer than I thought it was. I thought Pitts had a little bit more than that. So
yeah, not much. All right, last name, TJ Hawkinson versus the Niners.
I'm doing it again.
Anytime I say the Niners, it's just like
it's just like
it's a knee-jerk reaction.
freaking it's kind of like he's Pavloved into reacting whenever the Niners are brought up in any capacity. Even
Nice.
even against the Niners with Justin Jefferson out, TJ Hawkinson should receive a large amount of targets. I'm gonna still go with TJ Hawkinson this week, even over Kyle Pitts.
Absolutely TJ Hawkinson. Oh, wait, I'm not next.
Yeah, no, I'm getting drunk. What is this? Niners. No, it's TJ Hawkinson. He's so consistent. He's one of the best tight ends in all of fantasy. It's got to be Hawk.
Yeah, until they trade Kirk Cousins, it's TJ Hawkinson.
All right. Well,
All right, that does it.
That concludes our segment.
That
for
wasn't
today.
chaotic at all.
Zach, take us
Yes.
away on
Yes,
some.
I actually get to host the segment because I actually did the segment.
All right, so
All
we're
right.
gonna do. Yeah, give us a hook, Zach.
All right. Guess the NFL team based on their fantasy points per game. This is also full PPR, by the way. All right. Starting with
Ooh.
team 1, quarterback 19.4, running back 14.5, wide receiver 1 9.5, wide receiver 2 5.6, tight end 17.7, kicker 10.7, and defense
this.
8.5.
Buzz, this has got to
Yeah.
be the Chiefs.
Yeah,
There's no way it's
has
anything
to
but
be.
the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
Has
This
to be.
is 100% the Kansas City Chiefs.
There's no other team where the receivers are averaging 9 points a game, and the tight end.
I know. I was
Tight
like,
end,
$7.7.
where's the quarterback getting all these points from? Oh yeah, the tight end.
It's the tight end.
Yeah, I was like, there's only one tight end that's averaging 17 a game.
All right. Hopefully we get more than one guess for this next one. All right. Team 2, quarterback 16.7, running back 14.1, wide receiver 1 12.9, wide receiver 2 12.6, tight end 9.5, kicker 7.0, and defense 3.7.
Whoa.
Let's get one guess at a time this time.
I have a guess.
I'll go Jesse, Jack, Brian.
All right, I think I only have one team in mind here. the receivers being close together leads me to believe that one of them's not like entirely that much better than the other. And solid running back, the tight end as well. It's been decent. I think this is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that's Lawrence, Etienne, Ridley, Kirk, Engram, and then the kicker and defense.
Yeah, that was also going to be my guess. I was trying to think of someone else in the split second since then, but that was going to be my guess, and I can't think of anyone else.
I have another guess, and I think these two teams are very similar. So my guess was the Lions. So a decent running back, 2 wide receivers, and I'm hoping Reynolds has had enough of a couple big games to get his average up, because I don't necessarily trust it. And then I have what's his name at tight end for the Lions? I'm losing
Laporta,
who's had a really good year. I don't know that their defense is that low though, so I'm not super confident.
The reason why I don't think it's the Lions is that I think Amon-Ra would be higher, and I think Laporta would be higher.
Jack, do you
Maybe.
have Jack, do you have a guess, since you didn't really come up with your own guess?
I think it's the Jaguars.
Okay, this
That
is
is what I think.
this is the Washington Commanders.
What? I was so sure it was the Jaguars.
This is the Washington Commanders. It's Scary Terry and Curtis Samuel are the wide receivers.
Wow.
Brian Robinson, the running back. Logan Thomas.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, it really shows you.
Ryan Robinson is averaging 14 a game.
Yeah.
Wow.
PPR. Yeah.
PPR.
And Howell's averaging 16.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go through the list. All of them are. The answer is yes. They're all average.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I was so locked in on that
That's
being the Jaguars.
crazy.
The reason I didn't think it was
this
the
is the
Lions is
Washington
because the Lions last week.
And I think the lesson we can learn from all of this
I
is that
wasn't
Terry
here.
McLaurin is overrated every single year in fantasy. Because he is.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
absolutely he is.
Every single year, he's so overrated.
In my mind, I still think of Jahan Dotson as the wide receiver too, even though he's been awful. But
all right,
damn.
Team 3, quarterback 14.0, running back 15.3, wide receiver 1 14.9, wide receiver 2 6.4, tight end 7.7, kicker 10.8, and the defense 13.0.
13 for a defense?
13 for a
I think
defense.
I have it. I have it. Jesse, do you want to go first?
I can allow. The wide receiver 2 is throwing me off. You can go first if you want.
All right. I think this is the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak 14 would make sense. Tony Pollard around 15 would make sense. CD would make sense.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks has not been that good this year. I don't think they have anyone that's been better. So it makes sense that he would be on the lower side. Ferguson, decent, 7 would make sense. They've had a really good kicker, and their defense has been really good. So I think the Cowboys would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was going to guess the Cowboys as well. I was also I thought about Buffalo at first just because of the defense number and the low tight end number, but their tight ends have probably been even lower than 7.7. And then I thought the Ravens, because Andrews hasn't really started too well, but they don't really have a wide receiver 1 at all that's done anything. So I was going to guess Cowboys as well.
The one team that I was going to throw out was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because their defense has also had a few like really big scoring games. And Mike Evans has been high enough to average 15, and Chris Godwin has been good in PPR. In half PPR, he's averaging closer to like 7 or 8 points. But there's just no way that Rachaad White is averaging 15 points a game. So it's definitely not. But that's the only other team I can think of.
All right, this is the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, let's go.
Well done, man. That Commanders one threw me. I was so locked in on that being the Jags.
I had a feeling. I was like, I gotta make sure at least one of these throws you guys off. So, Commanders.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised looking through, because I was like, really? I was looking through and I'm like, really? And then what really surprised me the most is we talk about how good their defensive line is. We talk about how great that front 7 is, and yet their defense has not looked that good in fantasy. It has been terrible in fantasy.
Well, their secondary is awful, and I think
it is. But at the same time, you would think they would be doing more overall.
Their D-line is overrated. I do think that. I think that they're league average.
Who's D-line?
And with that secondary, it's going to be a bad defense.
The Commies?
The Commies.
Yeah. Wow. Hot take.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's that hot.
I don't
Alright.
think it's that hot. It's just something that you'd hear me saying, not a non-Eagles fan saying.
All right, I got a segment for us, and then we'll move on into our connections for the week. So let's go through 7 weeks. Can you name the top 20 fantasy players Can you name the top 20 fantasy players at the flex position through 7 weeks? Let's start. Let's see how many of them you can knock off the list. There's a few obvious ones, obviously, and a few tricky ones. So just say a name when you think of it.
Now, are we gonna like rotate, or are we just gonna like shout out?
We can rotate.
Okay.
All right, what order?
Let's do Jack, Zach, Brian. Classic.
Okay.
I'm always last. Y'all always put me last.
You know what? Fine. Let's do
Classic.
Brian, Jack, Zach.
All right.
AJ Brown. AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is number 6.
Give me Keenan Allen.
And Allen's number 7.
Give me Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce is not on here.
What?
Wow.
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
He's number 25.
Wow. Swing and a miss.
Give me Puka.
Damn, that
Puka
was
Nacua is number 8.
That was gonna be my pick. Give me McCaffrey.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Got to see one go in.
Give me Tyreek Hill.
Number 1. Easy.
Give me Devon Achane.
Devon Achane did make the cut.
Wow.
Whoa.
He is
where was
number 13, I think.
Wow.
He was number 2
14.
after his first week.
He's number 14.
Wow.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go with this backfield, mate. Give me Mostert.
Number 4.
Wow. You know what? This guy's been pretty impressive as well. Give me Adam Thielen.
Number 5. Crazy.
Oh my God.
Who do we? So just to refresh, who do we have so far?
Got Tyreek, CMC, Mostert, Thielen, AJ, Keenan, Puka, Achane.
Let's see.
You're missing number 3.
Number 3. Did somebody? Oh, we already said Mostert. Ken Walker.
Ken Walker is on the list. Oh, actually, no, he's not. Sorry. Kenneth Walker is one of the first people off the list, number 22.
All right. I don't think he's the number 3 guy, but he has to be on there. Give me Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra is on the list. He's number 18.
Ooh.
Oh,
Missed
he
a
missed the
week.
game. I
He
forgot
missed a
about
week.
that. Yeah.
And this is total points, by the way. Total points on the season.
Total points.
Brett Maher guess is pretty funny.
You know what? I don't like him in fantasy, but he had one ginormous week. DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, number 10.
Nice.
Nice.
All
What
right.
about Diggs?
Diggs,
next.
number 3. There it is.
There it is. Okay.
You know, if DJ Moore made the list, I'm gonna say Jamar Chase for a similar reason.
Number 9, Jamar Chase. All right. Working his way back up to the top.
Yeah.
All right. Another guy who just had a really big week, Travis Etienne.
Number 12.
What are we missing?
Yeah, what
Nico
we-
So
Collins.
you guys have everybody inside the top 10 so far. Say that again, Brian.
Nico Collins.
Number 17, Nico Collins. So y'all are missing
Oh.
11, 13, 15, 16, 19, and 20.
I don't think anyone said Devontae Adams, have they?
They did not, and he is on the list at number 16.
No one's, although now he's out, no one said Justin Jefferson.
I was
There he
just about to
is.
guess that.
Number 11.
Nice.
What about? I want to say either Brees Hall or Isaiah Pacheco. Give me Hall just for those long touchdowns.
I'll give you both. Neither is on there.
Oh, okay.
This one might be stupid. How about DeAndre Swift?
DeAndre Swift is not on the list.
Ooh.
Oh, actually, sorry, I lied. DeAndre Swift is number 19.
Let's go.
Barely making it at the end.
Barely.
Yeah.
Shout out Spencer. This is his favorite player, Kyron Williams.
Kyron
was about
Williams
to guess.
did make the cut, number 13.
Nice.
I was about to guess
His
Kyron.
favorite player. His favorite
There
player.
are 2
For
names
some
left.
inexplicable reason.
Number 15 and number 20. 2 names left.
It can't be Derrick Henry. He hasn't caught and he hasn't played enough, really. What about Mike Evans?
No, Mike Evans
No?
is not in the top 20.
Damn, I like that guess.
He missed the game too, at least one.
Yeah. Well,
He's
they had
he's
their
pretty
bye.
far
They
down.
had
He's like
their-
number 40.
They had their
Okay, this could be really stupid, but I feel okay about it. How about Sam Laporta?
No, Sam
Okay.
Laporta is not in the top 20.
I think he's been pretty consistent. How about CD Lamb?
No, CD Lamb is number 23. Very
Oh,
close.
dang.
What
There's
about,
one fairly obvious one.
George Pickens.
Okay, that was just a shot in the dark.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bijan. How about Bijan?
Come on, man. Number
Yeah.
20. There he is.
Yeah.
Your
All right.
your favorite player.
I don't know how Jack let his boy slide.
I don't know.
that many
I
rounds.
just slipped my mind. That was terrible.
So what are we missing now?
Sorry, George Pickens isn't even in the top 50. That was just a shot in the dark.
What are we
Well,
missing?
you didn't really lay out the scoring system we were using. If you're getting points for long touchdowns, he might be. Just saying.
Okay.
All right.
What are we missing? Because I feel like we've gone through a lot now.
Number 15.
That's it.
15.
That's it.
Zach Moss.
Man.
Bang!
Nice.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
The first few
Great
names
pick.
off the list, by the way, Tony Pollard, Kenneth Walker, CD, Josh Jacobs,
Ah.
Kelsey, Michael Pittman, Jacoby Myers, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco.
I feel like I maybe would have gone with Pittman next, just because he's been sneaky good.
Yeah, Zach Moss, currently the RB6 on the year, and
Mhm.
he's number 15 overall in fantasy points.
Wow.
That's wild.
Wonderful. All right, let's move on to our last segment of the day. We're gonna play some MLB connections. All right.
Yep. MLB postseason connections. I made this like a week ago, but but all the names, all the categories still ring true. So we have MLB postseason connections.
All right.
That
4
works.
categories. They're all about the postseason.
Wait,
This is going to be borderline impossible. Oh my God. I don't even
What
know
about World Series MVPs? I see David Freese, and that's what and Troy Gloss, and that's what I think first.
Did Pujols win one? And Betts.
He had.
no,
to.
Betts didn't. Betts didn't.
Babe Ruth.
David Justice, maybe.
Was it appeared in Moneyball? Is that one of them?
Yeah.
Appeared in Moneyball is not a category because the Moneyball team did not make the postseason.
My guess would be Freeze, Justice, Gloss, Pujols.
I like
But
that.
don't
No.
submit
Oh, well.
it if you don't agree.
No, I didn't
Might
mind
as well
that.
try it.
I didn't
Or
mind
what
that.
about Derek Jeter? You got Derek Jeter too. I don't know if he was ever
So-
a World Series MVP.
Oh, what the hell is Max Muncy doing here?
Ooh.
Max Muncy has to be something about hitting nukes because that's like all that he does.
I see a lot of Braves players on here. I know that Chipper Jones, David Justice. Who else?
There's not. I don't think there's any other Braves,
Oh, well, I saw 2. So,
which is funny because it's not one.
yeah. We got a couple.
What about
St.
Ben
Cardinals.
Zobrist?
He was a World
Ben
Series
Zobrist-
MVP, wasn't he?
Was he?
What-
For who?
With the Cubs? No,
Let me
was he
Oh,
not in
gross.
2016?
I try to delete that year from my memory.
Ben
Ben
Zobrist
what-
was a World Series MVP. He was.
Yeah. So if it was Zobrist, Freeze,
Freeze,
That
Gloss.
that also does not mean that World Series MVP is a category.
but
No,
I mean,
not-
could be.
That was
one
one
way.
off. One off. These 4.
Okay. So who did we think it was that it was David Justice was the other one we were talking about, right?
Yeah, but that
Right,
one
and
wasn't one off.
Pujols may be wrong. Is the other thing. Who was the
Who else could be wrong?
Who was
Or
the
like,
MVP
who
of the last Dodgers World Series?
Corey Seager.
Okay.
Could have been Jeter. Like, could he have been an MVP? World Series MVP?
Jeter probably.
That was not
I mean,
one
they
away.
won.
Probably was.
That one was not one
Or
away.
what about
And
Jorge
Albert Pujols was
Posada? What
in
about
there.
Jorge Posada? Like low key, like dark horse candidate.
So these
What
were
about-
not one away, meaning Albert Pujols is in there.
Okay.
And one of these three isn't.
So could it be Freeze that's not in there? We've had
And Zach said
was-
it's not necessarily a World Series MVP. We could just
Yeah,
be
that
on
is
the right
true.
track or something. Could it be like hit clutch walk-off home runs in a playoff game?
I mean,
That's all I
Freeze-
think about when I
Freeze
hear
would-
David
yeah.
Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Pujols would probably qualify for that too.
I'm
Yeah,
97%
that's
sure
not
Freeze was an MVP, but
And
Right,
Zoe
but that's
just-
not necessarily the category. We're just trying
no,
to
I,
figure out.
I get it, but
Yeah.
Doesn't
you know,
seem like you
I'm
get
trying
it.
I'm trying to make a connection, Jesse.
So, okay, well, I'm sure Albert Pujols has hit walk-offs in his career. What
Yeah.
about Zobrist and Glaus?
What about Muncy? That sounds like something Muncy could have done. I'm not sure about that, but like it just sounds like something Muncy would
That was
do.
also one away. So it leads me to believe that these three are right.
Yeah. So what category could that be, and who could the other one be? I mean, those are guys that are like known playoff performers. They're like they're like known to it for having had huge moments in the playoffs.
What is Yadi Molina doing here?
Yeah. What is Yadier Molina doing here?
I don't know that.
What is
I mean-
what is Carlos Delgado doing here?
I mean, there are three. We have three Cardinals checked off right now, in Freeze, Molina, and Pujols.
So
But
then
He wouldn't make it that easy.
So then
Yeah.
what is Zobrist doing here?
That's still
still
one
one.
away. No,
This is
it's
still one
It's
away.
Freeze, Zobrist, Pujols, and something. It's who would be a guy that would just
Maybe Delgado?
I mean, yeah,
Chipper
I have
Jones?
no idea what it would be. Like,
Still. All right, we know those three are one. We can also come back to
know
it.
it's those three and something. But
Speaking of nukes, I mean, like Barry Bonds is on here. Max
Yeah.
Muncy, Babe Ruth. I
and
mean,
like Chipper. Although Chipper wasn't much of a nukes guy, but I mean, he could hit a nuke. But
that's also one away. Interesting.
I would think it's not Chipper. I would think the three would be Babe, Barry, and Max. And like
How many home runs does Max Muncy hit in his best season, would you say?
40 plus.
But this is a postseason connection.
Yeah. No, I mean, all Max Muncy does is hit nukes. That's like literally the only thing that he does.
Has
So
he ever had like a multiple home run game in the playoffs? Like
I
two or three?
wouldn't be surprised.
Where's Nick Castellanos when you need him?
This was made prior to Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber's multi-home run games.
I mean, it could be those three.
Although I also will say neither of those performances affect the categories in this grid.
Those three and
Do you guys want a hint that might help just a little bit?
Sure.
Two of these categories have to deal with single postseason performances. So performances through an entire singular postseason.
like
Okay.
that has to be the Freeze, Zobrist, Pujols, and someone. That has to be one of them. I just don't know who
Could,
the other
could the
one
Barry Bonds, Muncy, and Babe Ruth one be like hit like 10 homers in the playoffs or hit X number
in
of
like a
home
single
runs?
postseason. Yeah, but like who would the other one be? Like
Is Mookie a guy who would do anything like that?
I mean,
Like,
Mookie can hit homers, but he's not like known for being a power hitter.
he's never hit 40 in a season.
What about like
either.
Gary Sheffield?
Run it. Still one off. All right, so I think we know for sure that these three are together then. Who is the odd man out?
Or Delgado, maybe?
Oh, that was
that
not
wasn't
one off.
one away.
Oh. Wait a sec. So that means
Wait, so what do we have?
these like
Could it be those four?
because
Not
Babe, Muncy, Bonds, and Chipper was one off. Babe, Muncy, Bonds, and Sheffield was off, which means maybe these
But-
four. Oh, 18 plus walks
that
in a
makes sense.
single
Finally! Oh my goodness!
postseason.
You guys have been so close a number of times, but
Who knows that?
Yeah.
That's such
No.
a random stat.
That is so
plus
random.
walks in a single postseason because there is no
That's
home run.
diabolical.
There is no home run stat, but because these guys were feared so much, they were walked 18 plus times.
That actually
Diabolical. That's what
That-
It is.
that-
It is.
that
It
is
is
a very
this is
bad
arguably
We have a staff
just as
meeting in 4
insane as
minutes,
any
guys.
home
We
run stat.
gotta get through this.
Okay. All right.
Come on. If we have to get through this, you guys just gotta do better. Come on, you guys
all right.
got.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
let's go
it's
back
our
to the one
fault.
that we know is one away. Zobrist, Pujols, Freeze. What? This has to be about like
Screw
all
it.
three of those guys had.
Bang! That's how we get business done.
Okay.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie
8
Betts.
doubles in a
There it is.
postseason.
8
All right.
doubles in a
Wow.
single postseason.
Okay.
So
What
neither
else?
of those was
Another
about
question.
home runs, but we
No,
both
Yeah.
there is no home run stat on this. There's no home run stat.
Okay.
To be fair,
Random foolish. This is the
home-
random foolishness MLB connections.
Yeah, literally.
Who let that cook, man?
Literally, I don't even know where to go with this.
I'm cooking.
Yadi
I'm
and
cooking.
Posada might
Sorry.
be to get like. Maybe is there one that has to do with like the amount of times that these guys have been in the playoffs?
Kind
like-
of, yeah.
Like Jeter,
Yadi's been around
like
for how
Jeter,
many
Yachty, Posada, and Babe.
There is one that has to deal with the amount of times. Yes.
That's one off. Delgado. David Justice played how many years? Like,
Yeah, he
Babe
was in
Justice
Atlanta.
could be the other guy. But so like, but I think Babe has to be in there though. Like maybe not Yachty.
Yeah, I would take Yachty out.
ooh,
Yeah,
that's
I would
also
say
one off.
Justice, Babe,
Justice, Ruth. Yeah.
Jeter, and Posada.
That's also one off. So maybe it's not Jeter. Maybe it's
It's
not Babe.
Babe.
Wow, 100 plus
There we
postseason
go.
games played. Let's go.
Yes.
Clutch.
They also
So
played a lot less games back then when Babe played.
yes.
in the
That's
playoffs,
true,
I
but he was in the playoffs every single year.
I know.
Like,
I know. Well,
That's
It
so
would have
many
to add
games. Oh my
All right,
God.
so
okay, let's
what
just
do-
guess these
so-
four so we can.
So what do we
Yeah.
think this last one is?
How
gotta
many
be
World
something-
Series wins do these guys have?
Babe is a billion.
Gloss only has one.
Yeah. I don't even know about Delgado.
Was Carlos Delgado? He wasn't a series MVP. I have no
No.
idea.
I don't think
Just
this is
hit
World
submit.
Series.
All
Yeah,
right, let's run it. Let's run it.
Just run it.
Career postseason.
Oh my-
slugging
Oh my
over
God.
740.
All right.
All right. Chop it. This guy's never making a connections again.
What?
Jeez.
Ah,
Oh my god. That was
Well,
that was.
I think
certainly-
we might have to skip the NFL connections for today because we are at time, but we'll save it for next week. Next Wednesday, we'll be back. And on Monday, our usual Monday show as well. So thanks for tuning in with us. We got a meeting to get to. This has been Pass the Rock. Thank you all for joining us and good luck this weekend. See ya.